Here we go, boys. This is it. So we've got Mickey Spec stickers. So we've got the EG. We've got my old Corolla, the Bastard 8.6. And we've got my wagon, Ric Flair, the E91. All available. We've got lanyards that are specific for the RX-7. Mickey Spec RX-7 lanyard. We've got the Mickey Peakers. So these go on your windows. And last but not least, we have the Bad Apple Mickey Spec collaboration. The day has come, boys and girls. The RX-7 is back at the Hunt Quarters. I'm here today. We're burning the weekend oil. Got my boy Evan here. Ricky is already in the engine bay. I've got one Ricky power today. He's cleaning up our bell housing, which is gonna get cleaned up before we put the engine back on. And the engine is also back. Yes! This is the day I've been waiting for a long time. Everything is here. All of our parts are here. We are about to start slamming this thing back together, and we have roughly 2.5 to 3 weeks to get it done. Unfortunately, as I've told you guys in the past, the upcoming week for me is a mess. I've got family in town. I'm not gonna be able to put in a lot of hours on the car. The following week is fair game, and the week after that is SEMA. So I'm gonna be out of town in Vegas for that. So I effectively have a week and some change to get this car done. From rolling shell to full-on showstopper to debut at 7 stock. Man, it's gonna be a lot of work. I'm excited. I think we're gonna be able to do it. The boys from DNA Garage are actually gonna make a special trip down to San Diego to help us tomorrow, which is awesome because they don't make house calls. But they love this project so much that they're actually gonna come down and help us. So looking forward to that. I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on a time lapse, and Ricky and I are gonna start getting this car set up and start getting some parts on it. Well, in typical fashion, Ricky and I have been back for about an hour, and the car is already on the rack, the engine bay is already clean, and believe it or not, we're already starting to fiddle with the idea of an engine hoist. I can't believe we're doing this already. Man, the engine's going in. I'm gonna go ahead and set this thing on the tripod and let you guys watch us put this thing in the hole.
Hey Mickey, what are you doing right now?
So now you gotta lower the
I'm about to have a heart attack, actually. It's been lifting this motor pretty much to shake it into place.
or we could bolt the
Yeah, so the motor is actually stuck in. We've stuck on the old temporary intake manifold so that we have the engine hoist hook on here. This is all gonna come off, so don't hose us for having an ugly intake manifold. But yeah, so it's in now. We gotta get the motor mount set and get the transmission bolts in, and this thing will be in. All right, so I'm sure you guys know that Ricky and I are super pumped to have the car back in the shop, so we are literally just freaking hammering away on this thing. Thanks to our homeboy Evan, Rick Beckerman and Evan Beckerman, they both came through tonight. We actually have the engine in its hole. It's in its resting place. That makes us feel good. The DNA boys, as I said earlier, are coming down tomorrow. We're gonna start hammering away on the cooling system. It's getting late, but Ricky and I decided it was time to tackle putting in new ball joint, the rubber boots around the ball joints. So the ball joints are actually in good condition, but went ahead and ordered new Mazda parts. So we're gonna go ahead and install those tonight. And the other thing we need to install are these tie rod ends. However, in my haste, I don't know that these have actually arrived yet. I did order them, but there's so many parts coming in for this car that I think they have not arrived. So that might be an issue for us at the moment. We'll see. What we have here to install is brake upgrades. So these are actually an OE replacement rotor. I've shown these before in a previous video, but these are a slotted and cooled, or slotted and vaned performance rotors front, performance rotors rear. We've got sport pads for the front and the rear, and we've also got stainless steel lines. This is a kit that's available through throtl. You basically just order this whole, basically rebuild kit. It's really nice. It's a good alternative to a big brake kit upgrade, I guess. So for now, this is what we're gonna run until I'm able to actually shell out a few grand for a nice big brake upgrade kit. Here are the boots that we ordered. These are directly from Mazda. So these are rubber boots with a retaining ring, 2 for each side. And then we've got our sway bar end links. All the bushings on this car are thrashed, as I'm sure you can imagine, after 25 years and 14 of them sitting outside in the sun in LA. So here are our front sway bar end links, brand new. We're gonna go ahead and throw those on. So part of the idea here is to refresh as much of the suspension as possible. We do have some other bushings and things coming as well that we will tackle after this car makes it to 7 stock. Some of the more difficult ones. So the idea is to make this car handle and perform like it did when it was new. I think we'll get there. It's just gonna take some time, and some of the stuff will get done after 7 stock. So we're gonna get as much done as we can tonight, tackle some more tomorrow with the boys from DNA, and move on to getting this thing to a point where it can actually start. So we've already made a heap of progress in what, 3 hours, 4 hours?
About 3.5.
I mean, just getting the engine in already is, I honestly wasn't planning on having this thing in until later tonight or very early tomorrow morning. But we're cruising, so we're gonna keep doing that. I'll update you guys as we go here, and I'll throw a little bit of time lapse in here for you. Alright, so while I've been horsing around at the rear of the car, Ricky has been up here knocking this out. We got the new boots on. They look great, filled with new grease. Big Jeff's brake calipers are looking sweet, and the new rotors are on. So now I'll show you guys what I was up to. I was up to remounting the rear bash bar. So this is an aluminum bumper bar. I basically scuffed it with some Scotch-Brite and just repainted it black. Wiped down and remounted the rear bumper lights, and then rewrapped all the wiring and cleaned up the plugs a little bit. They had overspray all over them, so those are ready to be plugged back into the rear bumper lights that go on here. It's hard to see, but they go in the bumper right here. So, and then the rear bumper lights that I just remounted go and shine down through this opening here. So, it's starting to look pretty good. Motor's in. Now it's time to move on to getting all the detail work done and getting all the hard parts that we have laying around put back on the car. All right, so Ricky just buttoned up the right front. This is how the brakes looked before. As you guys remember, they are basically 14-year-old crossroad rotors that were never used, but they're rusty. And those are the old calipers. And so this is what it looks like now. Quite a big difference. So new rotors, cleaned up the brake shields in the back a little bit, and then went ahead and tossed on Big Jeff's specials. Man, what a difference. Nice job. Actually, Ricky and his wife are down here in San Diego. They live about an hour and a half north of me. And they've been gracious enough to actually come down. They brought their daughter down even, so they didn't have to find a sitter to help me out. This is what I love about the Rotary community. It's like a massive family. I was fortunate to meet Ricky about, I don't know, it's probably been about 8 years ago now. But until I got my FD, we didn't really hang out or anything. We were just buddies or whatever. And we talked on, whenever we saw each other at car meets. But lately we've been spending a lot of time together. He's been a great help. So much as his wife is even down here. Helping out, which is so rad. It's made things so much easier. I've done a really lousy job of filming today. We're so excited that the car's back and we're just getting stuff done because we have such a short time frame. I really will do a better job of filming in the coming days. Just really wanted to get today and tonight under our belt and get going. At any rate, the rear calipers have been repainted. All of the brakes have been upgraded. Steel braided lines have been put on. I've spent the majority of my time today cleaning up pulleys and brackets and basically sanding and cleaning everything, so it can get all put back on the engine. Right now I'm working on the power steering and AC bracket, and it looks like this. Unfortunately, this is the power steering reservoir that holds the fluid. It basically sits like this on the side of the engine, and unfortunately Mazda no longer makes this part. So every one you'll see is pretty yellow like this. Unfortunately, that's as clean as they come. I've gone ahead and cleaned up the power steering pump and bead blasted this AC bracket. The AC condenser goes right here, mounts on these 4 holes, and the power steering pump goes here, and there's an idler pulley that goes here. Unfortunately, our idler pulley, which is this, has a bad bearing in it. So you can either press this bearing out and put a new one in, if you can find the right bearing, or you just have to buy this new pulley, and it's like 40 bucks. So I'm gonna go try to find one of these. They don't have them on the shelf anywhere, I'm told, so I'll be ordering one. And it would be, you know, a bad move to put the engine all back together after all the time we put into it and put a squeaky bearing on. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We'll get this little guy cleaned up, fresh coat of paint, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to find the bolts to mount this up tonight so we can get this on the engine. A little update on the engine, things I've been doing. This is a Greddy pulley, and this used to be Greddy blue. But what I've done is I've actually put it in the blast cabinet and treated it just the way I treated the rest of the stuff on this engine. Gives it that new look. And now down here is where the pulleys will go that I'm working on now. They're for the main belts and the timing for the sensors here. So I'm gonna get those cleaned up, get some paint on them, get them back on the engine. Before we leave, I'll check back in with you guys.